So here again, using 3 different types of apples, and I'm leaving the skin on, and we're making apple butter. I'm not sure if I said that. And I'm making this apple butter while Mama is gone, so that when she comes back, she can have some apple butter to taste to see what she thinks. So here again, I'm just chopping the apple, just leaving the core, and just cutting my apples into chunks, just like this. Again, we're making apple butter. And I'm using, I've got 3 different types of apples that we're using. Let's see, we got a yellow. And so I'm mixing it up. So you can make it with the same, you know, all red apples, golden yellows, or the green Granny Smith, or whatever you want to do. All right. So let's see how it turns out. Okay, so this is about 8 pounds of apples. I'm going according to a recipe book. And normally I would put, you know, a solution to stop them from browning. But since we're making apple butter, it does not matter because it's going to be brown in the end. All right, so let's get these going. Okay, so now we're about to start processing the apples, start them cooking. And I'll be using, this is 2 cups of apple cider. This is what I use. And then 2 cups of vinegar. So this is what we are going to start slow cooking these apples in until they get nice and soft. And then we'll be back when this is done. Okay, so we turn this down. We're gonna cook these slow on the stove top until they get nice and soft. So there are recipes out there where you can use a crock pot, you know, if you have the time to do that. I don't have that kind of time. And so this is the way Mama, you know, always did hers. So this is the way I'm doing mine. All right. So they're cooking now pretty good, getting softer. So we're gonna let them just keep going till they get softer, and then we'll be ready to move on to the next step. Okay, for this next step, because I would normally use, you could use an immersion blender, but because I did leave the peels on, I'm actually gonna puree it in my Ninja blender. So I'll show you guys that step. So if you don't have the peels on, you probably could use this. But if you do, it probably will work a little bit better if you use one of these blenders. Okay, so I'm just sort of testing them to see how soft they are. And now the red ones, of course, were a little bit more firmer. So that's why I'm just giving them a little extra time. But we're going to puree them anyway. So, you know, I just want to just get them pretty soft, pretty uniformly soft. So, all right. Okay, now since this liquid is hot, I'm actually gonna wait a while because I don't have like the Ninja that's designed for like hot liquids, and you don't want pressure to build up in this thing and you know explode on you, whatever. So I'm gonna let this cool off, and then I will blend it, and then we'll be back. Now, they say if you're in a rush, you can feel it maybe, you know, about here, and that'll give it time for room for the pressure to escape, and then have something, you know, holding it here. But I'm not even going to go through all that. I'm not in that big of a rush, so I'm going to let this cool off a little bit, and then we'll be back. Okay, so while we're waiting on our apples to cool, I thought I'd go ahead and show you this. All right, this is what we're going to put in it according to the recipe. This is 2 1/4 cup of white sugar, 2 1/4 cups of packed brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of ground cinnamon, and 1 tablespoon of ground cloves. So this is where, mainly where your apple butter is gonna get its color, its dark, rich color. So, and the kitchen is already starting to smell pretty amazing, so I can't wait to get these seasons in there. Okay, so I've already loaded some of the apple mixture in here, and now I'm gonna puree it. I don't wanna liquefy it, so I'm just gonna use the pulse setting. So I'm just gonna use the pulse setting. I'll be back in just a minute. So this is what it's looking like. Okay, remember we put the peels in there? So it smells amazing. Back it up a little bit so you guys can see. All right. Okay, remember when I told you guys you don't have to get rid of the peels? Look how beautiful that is. And this is just by putting it in my blender. All right, so we're getting ready to add the seasonings in it. Okay, this is 2 1/4 cups of white sugar. I know that's a lot of sugar, but remember we had vinegar. I'm trying to hold this phone. And apple cider in it. Remember that. And give that a stir. Next is 2 1/4 cup of packed brown sugar, and we're gonna give that a stir. Again, I know it seems like a lot of sugar, but we had apple cider in here and some vinegar. So we're gonna stir this till it's all blended. Gets hot until that sugar melts. I'm gonna keep adding our ingredients. I'll be right back. 2 tablespoons of ground cinnamon. Get that in there. Stir it. Oops. Trying to film, guys, and stir. Okay, this is with just the ground cinnamon, so you can tell that it's starting to take its color. So let's put the cloves in. Okay, and 1 tablespoon of ground cloves. So this is going to give us this rich, dark color. Ooh. Let's just stir this up for a minute. Okay, so I'm back, and I've changed my spoon. I wanted a wooden spoon. I like to do that when I'm working with sweet stuff. So now we're just going to stir it. Let me move this camera back a little bit. All right, so we're going to just keep stirring this until we get it to the consistency that we need for apple butter. So we're just going to keep stirring it. You guys can see what it's looking like right now. So of course it has to thicken up, and we're just going to keep stirring it until it does just that. Okay, so my apple butter is about where I want it, and by the time I put it in there, I did the test where you take, hang on, I'll show you guys. This is a test where you can tell whether your apple butter is ready. You don't see any water or separation, and it's staying in a nice little round mound. So that tells me that my apple butter is ready. Okay, so now let's bottle it up. I'm using pint jars because it made quite a bit, and I didn't want to use up a lot of half pint jars. So I'll come back in just a second and check the head space on these. All right. So looks like we're doing good. Making sure no bubbles are in it. I think we're good. Okay, so now I'm just going around the rims so I can make sure that my lids will seal to get rid of anything that might be sitting on the top of those rims. So I've just got a little paper towel with a little bit of vinegar on it. All right. So we're gonna water bath these for 5 minutes. That's all it's gonna take to seal these. Okay, the 5 minutes are up, so I'm gonna turn this off, and then I'm just gonna take this off, and I'm just gonna let it sit for 5 minutes, and then I'll take them out. All right, so here's the apple butter. I just took it out of the hot water bath, so we're gonna let them do what they do. And they've already been sealing. I've been hearing the pop pop. So that's the first batch. Okay, this is my second batch. I'm doing it a little different. I peeled the apples, and instead of using the vinegar in there, I just did the apple cider because I decided I really didn't like the taste of that. I had to add extra sugar and extra spices to mask that, so this time I left that out. So I'll let you guys know how this turns out. And also in that first batch, it did blend smooth with the peels, and you can taste just a little bit of the peels, not much. But this one I wanted it to be different, so I'll let you guys know. Okay, so this is the apple butter without the peels. I left a few little apples in there because I always like seeing those little and tasting those little chunks a little bit too. So, but this is the apple butter. I didn't blend it as smooth as I did with the peels because I think it's just nice to have just a few little chunks in it, and it's getting thick, so we'll be putting this in the jars in just a little bit. Just want to show you guys what this looks like. Okay, so you can see the difference. These I did with the peels on, and I also followed the directions in the canning book. But these, I took the peels off. One just sealed, and I left some chunks in it, and I added the flavorings that I like, the seasons that I like. And I think it's just beautiful. So that way, this winter, we'll have a choice.